resources. So before that, I will explain you what is the meaning of virtualization first of all, right? What is the meaning of virtualization? So just assume, okay, so everyone know about one device, that is switch. So as we know, switch have by default one VLAN, right? That is VLAN 1, right? So if I'm saying I have here one switch like this, okay, and multiple interfaces like this, the first interface, second interface, third interface, fourth interface, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, right? So if switch have multiple interface, each interface is by default part of which VLAN, guys? VLAN 1, right? But if we have to divide the broadcast domain, if we have to divide the broadcast domain, what we do, we put the VLANs into separate, we put the interfaces into multiple VLANs like this. We put the interfaces into the different VLAN. So we have here VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 30. So what we are doing using the VLAN? So VLAN is used to divide the broadcast domain. That is used to divide the broadcast domain, right? So that means I'm dividing the broadcast domain. So like I'm dividing the switch virtually. So I have created three virtual switches, or you can say three different broadcast domain on the switch. Okay, and similar concept we are using on firewall. Similar concept what we are, where we are using, we are using on the firewall. So like this is the firewall, okay, this is the firewall for me, and I'm dividing here this firewall virtually. So now I can say this is my virtual ASA1, and this is my virtual ASA2, okay. And the second point is where we can use these type of things. So that means where I have to allocate the resources or to my different customers, okay. So the first thing, like I can configure such type of configuration when ISP is managing the security for customers. So maybe for customers, ISP is managing the services, okay. And for that, ISP have just one firewall. So ISP can create multiple virtual firewall for each customer, okay. So in this, ISP can create the multiple context, okay, for each customer to provide the virtual and separate firewall, virtual and separate firewall. So that means whenever you have to allocate firewall for every customer, and you are giving the network services and even the security, so every customer need a dedicated appliance, but you have one hardware appliance, okay. Maybe because of the cost you can't give a separate hardware to everyone. So what you do, you have to divide your firewall into multiple virtual firewalls, and we allocate for every customer one single firewall, right? Okay, so that we are achieving with the help of security context. That what we are achieving here. So now if I have three customers, so what I'm going to do, or just suppose we have two customers. So we divided the firewall like this, and here we have ASA1 virtual, here we have ASA2 virtual. So now we have here one ISP, like, or maybe we are the ISP, and we have here one more ISP, okay. So maybe we are the same ISP, but we have separate dedicated link, and here our customers are going to be connect customer one and the customer two. So you can say in this network, this is the inside interface of this customer one, and this is inside interface of customer two, and this is the outside interface for each customer. So that how we can use the single appliance as a multiple appliance here, right? Single hardware appliance as multiple, right? So we can use single hardware appliance for multiple users, also for multiple customers here. So that is the use case we are achieving here. Is it clear to everyone? What is the purpose of it? So maybe this can be for different customers. Customer can be universities, colleges, or anything else. Okay, or maybe the small business customers you have. So you can give such services. Okay, guys, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, great. So now let's talk about the security context. So virtually we are dividing the firewall into security context. So the first thing that's depend on your hardware module and the license, how many security context we can create, right? So the first point is it's depend on hardware module and license, how many context can be configure on firewall, right? That is the first thing, because each firewall have or security context use some hardware resources, right? Some hardware resources. So that is the point. So that means we allocate the resources according to the hardware which we have currently, right? So that means like if I'm using a small series firewall and I'm dividing into 100 contexts, so that is not possible, because in every context if you are giving some resources, so that will be overutilized of the device, and that will make the problem, right? That will make the problem. So we have to give the resources according to the hardware capability. So you have to always make sure that, right? And you will get like limitation. So there is a limitation, right? Or there is a limit of the context number on your every module. Okay. Okay, so the next thing, like if we have, first of all, we get two or three type of context. Okay, we need to understand the context first. So context have two type. Like first, that is the default one, which is like admin. So admin is the default context on the firewall. So you can say this is the default context on firewall. Okay, which is used to manage the other context. So that means if I am admin of I am admin context, so I can manage the other context as well through the firewall. So this is the default one, right? So now if we have license of 2, suppose if we have license of 2 context, so admin is by default. Okay, so you can create 2 more context on the device. Okay, so we can create 2 more context on firewall. So admin is separated, right? We are not counting the admin here. So if I have license of 2 context, so I can create 2 context more instead of admin. So total there are 3 context for me. There are 3 context for me. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so admin is additional for you, and you can create number of the contacts that is given in your license. Okay, but every context that should be managed through the admin, that should be managed through the admin, like if you want to create or you want to delete. So whenever we want to create or delete the context, need to do that from admin context. Okay, so make sure that, so whenever we are going to create or delete, wait a minute, actually, no, the management is from actually admin context, but we need to verify. I think we can create from a different mode, that is system mode on device. Okay. If this is clear, like we have admin and additional context mode on the firewall. So now you need to understand here one thing. So by default, firewall is in single mode. Okay. By default, ASA is in single mode, right? So to use the feature of context, we need to convert the firewall into multi-mode. Okay. To use the feature of multi-mode on firewall, need to convert the firewall into multi-mode, right? So if we want to use the feature of context on firewall, need to convert the firewall into multi-mode. So first of all, we have to change the mode of the firewall. Okay. So when we are changing the mode, firewall will reboot in that case. Okay. So during the change, firewall reboot with multi-mode. So that means when I'm going to enable the multi-mode feature, it's going to be boot with this mode. Okay. And after that, like where we get normally this mode on the firewall, like if we have here ASA, right? Okay. And if we are receiving the ASA in this, or if we are receiving the ASA in this mode, so this is now system mode for me, guys. This is system mode. So now this is not like privilege or global configuration mode. It's visible like same mode, but we call it system mode on firewall. Okay. And this system mode actually, system mode, this is used to allocate the hardware resources, okay, of firewall to context. So that means whenever we want to give hardware resources of firewall into the context, maybe there can be multiple context for me, okay, like virtual firewalls. So whenever we are giving physical interface, okay, to a context, whenever we are giving some other allocation like routing table or connection table, SSH connections, so every allocation you have to do from the system mode, you have to do from the system mode, right? So that means if I have to give any interface, like if I have some of interface on my firewall, okay, if there are any interface on firewall, so this is my firewall, right? And what we are doing, we have like four interface here: gig 0 by 0, 0 by 1, 0 by 2, and 0 by 3. So this is gig 0 by 0, 1, 2, and 3. So these are the four interface, right? So every interface is not yet part of any context. So suppose I'm dividing here one context, context 1, and then I'm giving here context 2 on firewall, right? Okay. Now I have two context one and context two on my firewall. So I am going to allocate these two interface to my context one and these two interface to my context two. But all these configuration I have to do through the system mode on my firewall. System mode on my firewall. Okay. So that is through the system mode, guys. Okay. Yeah, previously I was saying something different. Okay, so let me tell you some more thing. So in system, what we can do? So under the system mode, the first of all, we can create and delete the context. So we do from here actually, okay? Create and delete the context. The management is from admin, okay? And the next thing we have to give the name of file, name of configuration file. So we need to give name of configuration file in the context, so that we give from here. Okay, name of configuration file, so that also we give from here. Okay. And the next thing, after this name, because the configuration of the device, or you can say the context, when you create the context you need to give the name of the file as well, where configuration of the context remain. Like it can be any configuration name, policy, or it can be anything, right? So after that you have to give the allocation. So whenever we are giving allocation of resources, so that is also from here. Okay, so that all we give through the system mode. Okay, so that part is system. I guess that is clear to everyone here. What is the system mode? What is the use case of system mode?
Can you repeat the second meaning of the second line? Name
The
of the configuration file?
okay, name of the configuration file means, like if I'm creating here my context. So suppose my context is C1 for me. Okay, wait. C1. So to this context, like where this context configuration is going to be saved on my firewall, so I need to give here name of the file, like config url, and like I'm giving that is in my disk is like flash of the device. Okay, disk 0. And where I can give it's something like this. Okay, I can give here wait a minute, the name is, like I can give any name. It's c1.cfg. So that is my file, and this configuration file is automatically going to be available into the flash memory of firewall, right? Like where our operating system exists of the device, right? So flash memory contain the operating system. So similar files also visible there. If you go to the flash of the firewall, you can see your this file, because this file contain every configuration part of this context. Like it have some policy, it have some net configuration, it have some routing or anything, any inspection policy, right? Net policy, VPN. So you can do anything inside this context, because context is a like virtual firewall. So firewall have same features on context as well. So every configuration will be here. So that's why we need to give name manually, like where it can exist. Okay, where it can exist.
Okay, every context has its different config file in Flash.
Yes, yes, right.
Okay.
Okay. Now the second thing is this is about the system mode. Okay, but system mode is not the actual mode where you configure your normal configuration like a firewall. So if I have to do normal configuration of the firewall, like if I'm talking about I want to give my IP address and everything, so under the context, okay, under the context we have to given all the, if I want to configure IP address, that is under the context. Okay, if I want to give route, that is under the context. And if I have to do anything like my policies or anything, that is also under the context. Policies, VPN, okay, net. So everything is under the context. So we have to move from system to context in that config, in that. Okay, like I want to configure my inspection through the class map, ACL. Okay. So now, if those things clear, so let me show you how we can do those type of configuration, and we will understand how we can configure. Okay. So let's start with the practical, guys. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. So that is for context. Okay. So we need to use here one firewall. So use the normal ASA. Okay. That is not ASAV.
Okay, for this ASA, which file we need to install in Evangy?
Just give me 1 minute. Oh, sorry guys, sorry for delay. Okay, yeah. So the image is ASA. Okay, I will share just after the lecture. I think it's already uploaded. So I will share the drive link with you. Okay, so you can use it and save. And now just I'm going to be use here like nodes. So what I can do, I can use here now IS devices. Okay, I'm using here 4 routers. Okay, so we can edit the name of the first one. It's like R1 for me. So R1 and R2 is here. Okay, and 3 and 4 is going to be connect here. And now let's connect the ASA. So this have Ethernet interfaces, okay, not hair gig interface, because this is different firewall. Sorry, these are the interface of firewall, okay. And I am going to be connected here. Let's connect here. Okay, so we just connected all the devices, and now just I'm going to make the power on, right? So these two are be part of my context 2, and these are to be part of the context 1. So similar time I can just use here custom shape dash. It's with okay. I can just add it the background color. Okay, so this is my context 1. Okay, so here it is context 1. Make it duplicate and just change the color of it so we can remember. Okay, okay, this is context 2. Okay, so just give the some name here so we can remember it. So that is security context 1. The font size is 16. Okay, and make it duplicate for context 2. So this is my context 2. Okay, I hope this is clear to everyone, and I can use some IP addresses here. So this is my inside and this is my outside. So here we have maybe 10 and 10, 20 and 30 and 40 like this. So these are the networks 10/24, 14. This is the network here. Duplicate network of 20. Duplicate. Here we have network of 30. Network of 40. So now let's start with the configuration of firewall. So first of all, what we need to do. Okay, so the firewall is here up. So the first of all, you see the mode. So by default we have single security context mode here. Okay, so in this we can't configure the context on the firewall. So the simple thing, you need to move, you need to configure multi-mode. Okay, if I try to move to the configuration mode, okay, and here this I'm trying, okay, let me just give the hostname first, ASA, and now I'm just trying to configure here. uh, Wait a minute, the command is context, like I'm giving here C1, so that is not working, right? Why? Because this command is not working here, mode is here single. So what we need to do, we need to change the mode here. Okay, so mode is multi-mode. Okay, now if I try, so see, warning, this command will change the behavior of the device. Okay, and warning, this command will initiate a reboot. So the first option what you have, you can use this command mode multiple, right? Or just I'm avoiding it using the control C, just not going through this mode. So I can do mode, and if you check here, like no confirm, so you no need to just you no need to ask for confirmation, you can just directly reboot it. Like it will not give you this prompt here. Okay, if I use no confirm after this, so no confirm and multi mode, so if I enter this command, it will not give me this prompt, it will directly reboot the firewall. And let's do that and see, the firewall is booting, and now change the mode here, so the devices start processing it. Okay, so device will take some time. Until that, what I can do, I can start the configuration on my routers. Okay, so like we have R1. So R1, as we know, configuration host name is R1, interface is 0 by 0, no shutdown, IP address. Okay, 10.1, IP root 10.10, right? Okay, so we did it on R1. R2 have network of 20. So I'm giving IP address as per the router number. So R2 have 20.2. Okay, just I can remember it. That's why. And the firewall have IP address with dot 10. Okay, 20.10, 10.10, 30.10, and here is R3. Okay, host name is R3. Interface is 0 by 0. Network is here 30, 30.1.3. Okay, and the route is 30.10. Okay, and with this I can enable some features like username, admin, privilege 15, password is Cisco, and line VTY 0 to 4, transport input all. Okay, so we are done here with the configuration. So transport input all, and we can do the login local, and let's configure the R4 as well. interface is 0 by 0. Now shut down, and here we have network of 40. So this is R4, and give the route towards firewall 40.10, and username admin, privilege 15, password is Cisco, line VTY 0 to 4, transport input all, login local, right? So just we configured on all the routers. So now let's check what about the firewall. So now we have firewall is here, and we can check enable. Okay. So the first thing I can show you the show version command, right? In show version command, you will see which licenses are available on this device. This is virtual, but if you check, it have these licenses. Okay, the maximum physical interface is unlimited. We can add more interfaces, VLAN. Okay, inside host, failover we can do active. That means we can do failover testing on this device. Encryption is available, DS, 3DS, AES. Okay, and security context is 20. So that means we have license of 20 security context on this image, right? Okay, and we have like any connect VPN license also here, so that how you can check which feature you can enable here. And now we have converted the device successfully. Okay, wait a minute, proceed to change confirmation. Wait. That is actually copy paste, I guess. Yeah, now we can check. The first command is show mode. After that, so show mode is giving you output that is in multiple mode, right? That is in multiple mode. And in multiple mode, first of all, if we talk about here configuration terminal, so this mode is my system mode, guys. Actually, this is not the command. If I'm using here, that is like just you are typing the description. Okay, nothing like command. So system mode is not a command actually. Just I show you, this is our system mode where we allocate everything. Okay, but before that we have to create the context. What we have to do, we have to create the context. Okay, if you want to check show context, see, this time if you check the show context, okay, so you have here name of the context which is admin. So admin is name, and also this is admin by default, right? But we can change it, and the class is default, and there is no interface inside it, and the mode is routed. Because if you remember, we have two modes on firewall. We have routed mode and also,
Transparent.
yeah, transparent mode, right? So we can choose accordingly, like which mode we want to configure here. Okay, and now if we say we have routed mode here, and if you remember, I explained you about like it's using the disk 0, which is your flash on firewall, and the name is here admin.cfg. Okay, let me show you show flash. Actually, the first thing, this is virtual firewall, but still it will show you. If configuration file is visible here, guys. Okay, configuration file is visible here, and that is your any connect image, that is ASDM image. Okay, and even this is the virtual, but still it have multiple images that we can use in upcoming practicals. Okay, now I want to create more context. So in this system mode I'm going to be configure. So we need to configure context, like I'm giving here name. Okay, so under that you can see the creating context here. So currently there is no information about it, so that's why we need to give here name of the file. So how to give the name of the file? Config, wait a minute, the command is this, and you have to give like cfg. Okay, so now you can see the converting this file into your flash, and you can see the file, and there is no any file yet right now. So that's why Okay, so if you try to check again, uh, show flash. So now the file must be, wait a minute, file is not here. Okay, and there is one more file if you check, that is old running configuration. So what is the old running configuration? That is the previous configuration of the firewall from the single mode. Okay, but I guess I need to do one thing, write configuration, write all, or what is the command, write. Yeah, write memory all. Okay, just a minute. So now what I did this command. So if I do this command is going to save configuration of my system configuration, my context admin configuration, and other context admin, sorry, other context configuration, right? So that means using write memory all command, it will save configuration of all context and system on the device. If you check now, here is the file, because we saved the configuration, right? So there are two type of the commands. One is write memory all. Okay, one is
What is the meaning of the warning it was showing after the right
okay.
config? Right. Actually, your voice is breaking. Not sure it's
Okay,
for me only or it's
am I
for
audible
your.
to everyone?
Yeah, your voice is breaking up.
Okay, now.
Yeah, now it's okay, but
Okay,
in between it is breaking.
okay. So now if you check, if I do write memory all, so it's building the configuration, the saving the configuration of my
Sorry,
system.
sorry, not for this one. The last command you put to me.
That is invalid actually.
No, not this one. Can you scroll up?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
this one.
this one.
Config. Yeah,
So
yeah.
see here we just created the context one, right? So when we create the context, and we have to give the file name of the context where context configuration is going to be saved. So this file is actually by default putting in the flash memory of the firewall, because we have not defined any storage where we are going to store this file, right? So we have to give the dedicated hardware store like any memory. So we are using here flash as the memory by default, and even I can choose myself as well. Okay, so this file is going to be available into disk 0, which is my flash with name c1.cfg, the configuration file. Okay,
Okay.
okay. So now we have image here. So just a minute. Sorry guys, just I changed my seat. There was some noise. Okay, so now uh, if we are using this command during the context, okay, it will save the configuration of all contexts and system, okay, system mode. So that means it's going to be save the configuration of all contacts those are existing on the firewall, and even the system mode configuration, because in system mode I'm giving the hardware allocation, right? But if I'm going to be use here this command only, write memory, okay, so write memory, this command only save the configuration of delegated okay, so how I can say the configuration single context or system mode where we are applying it, right? So that means where I'm going to apply this command, write memory. Maybe I'm going to apply this command under the context, or maybe I'm going to apply this command under the system mode. So that is only going to save configuration of particular area or particular mode of the device. It's not going to save configuration like above. Okay, so you have to be make about that. So now if I'm going to be okay configure one more context here, so let's suppose I'm using here context C2 and the configuration config URL I'm giving C2 CFG file name, right? And after that I'm using here command is write memory only, okay? So now you can see this is only going to be changed configuration of the same. Here you can't see any other log like system context 1 context 2. So that is only going to be save configuration of context 2, right? If I'm going to be check here show flash under flash, wait a minute, right now why the command is not here. Actually I have not saved the configuration of system, I saved under that. So let me try to put again. When I check, okay, still it's not available. That it's saving the configuration of system mode actually, but my file must be visible here. I use this, okay, that is context 2. Let me check show context. And you can check now we have here context. We have admin context C1 and C2. Everyone is in routed mode, and you can see the file also available here maybe, but I'm curious why it's not visible here. Maybe it will visible. Just let me try this command also. Write memory all. You can see it's going to be save configuration of all system, admin context, C1 context and C2 context, right? And yeah, the file is this time here, so the configuration is saved actually, but the file is visible when we save all of them, right? Now the next thing, if we did these things, so how we can configure now system configuration, or how I can give my interfaces. So like I want to allocate my hardware resources, I want to allocate my interfaces. So how many interfaces are here? So interface IP brief, these are the 4 interfaces. So which interface we want to make part of context 1, which interface we want to make part of context 2, okay? So for that what we need to do, okay, check the network diagram. And if you check, we have interface 0 and 1 part of the context 1, 2 and 3 part of the context 2. So accordingly, I'm going to configure it. So now to configure that, I need to change my mode. What I need to do, guys? I need to change my mode. Okay. So suppose before that, let me give the hardware allocation. Okay. So we are moving under the context one. That how we created, and now we are allocating it. Allocate interface, and what is the interface number, guys? The interface number is it's wait a minute. Yeah, it's 0, right? Okay, and we are giving it one. Exit under the context 2. We are allocating the interface number 2 and 3. Okay, and just check all the interfaces are here and show context. See, so you can see the under C1 we have these two interface and C2 have these two interface, but yet your interfaces are in down state. Okay, so we need to make no shutdown, and this no shutdown must be under the actually range command is not working here for ASA. No shutdown. Okay, no shutdown.
You may try interface range.
Let
Set
me check.
0 to 3. Interface range.
No, the range command is not working here actually.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
Yeah, see after R, if you check R, that is for redundant.
Oh, yes. Okay, I see it.
But thank you. Okay, so we have now shut down all the interfaces, and now let's check show interface IP brief. So all the interfaces are up, but if you check, interfaces are up and those are part of the security context. Those are part of, wait a minute, those are part of the security context. Okay, now I need to give IP address. So IP address configuration after hardware allocation. So all the configuration, all the configuration must be under the context. Okay, so I'm moving under the context now. So you need to use change to. So change to command is actually used to move under the context or system. So right now we are under the system, so there is no change, right? If I'm doing change to context, and how many context we have, we need to give the word here like I want to move under the admin. Okay, so this is my admin context. So you can see now ASA is under admin, and that is the configuration. So that is under admin context, right? Okay, and now similar I need to give. Okay, so let me again change to C1. Okay, so under C1 we want to give the IP address and all, because hardware interfaces are part of that. Now you can check show interface IP brief. So if you check show interface IP brief, you have only two interfaces here, because it will not show you all interface. Those are in your other context as well. Okay, And similar, if I'm moving with my context to change to context to, wait a minute. Now, if I check show interface IP brief, so we have here other interface, right? So that how we can check. So under that we only see the configuration of particular context. So now let me change again to my C1. Now I want to give here configuration. So the commands are same, like you need to move under the interface. Interface is 0. No shutdown. The logically the interface is already up, so I can give here name if is inside. Okay, security level is 100 and IP address is 10.10, right? Same kind of configuration. And other interface is ETH1 and name if is outside. IP address is outside have 30, right? 30.10. Okay. And now we can check show interface IP brief. Okay, see the IP addresses are here, right? Okay. Similar, I'm moving into the change to context C2. Okay. Interface it's to name if inside IP address the network is 20.10. Interface is 3. Name if outside IP address is 30, right? Wait, 40. My bad. Okay. Now we have not done any right configuration, so show interface IP brief. Okay, so let me do right memory all. Okay, wait. I think this command is not working here. That is under the system, so I need to move on to the system and see the command is working here. Okay, so we did that, and now if you check show interface IP brief, so the IP address will be not visible here. Whatever IP we configured under the context, so that is not visible here. Okay, so always make sure the configuration is under the.
Could you try if write mem works inside the context, please?
Sorry.
Would you like to try if the command write mem works inside the context C1,
Yeah,
for
that is
example?
working. It's not working for all actually. If I do change to uh, context C1, right? If I do here write memory, so this is for itself, for context one only. Okay, but I was trying all because I was trying to save the configuration of system, context one and context two. So that's why I tried all. So all command is under system only. Okay.
Do we have any command to check which interface belongs to which context without going in context?
If you are under the system configuration, so just change to system. Okay, and now show context. See, here we can check.
Okay.
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 Now, now the next we configure the IP address, but IP address always visible inside the context, not outside the context. Okay, so you need to make sure about that. Now, if you try to check the route, show route, here we guess I don't have any route. Even the command is not working here because this is my security context. I have nothing like this. Okay. So if I'm moving into the to context C1, right? So if you check show route, so we have routes here. We have route of 10 and only inside and outside, right? So the it will not show the route of other context, okay? Because the resources are allocated, okay? If you move into the context 2 and use the same command, show route. So we have here route of 20 and 40, right? On the same inside and outside interface because we configured the same name on both side, inside and outside. So LAN have this is inside and this is inside, but in different outside and outside, right? And now, if I'm trying to pass such type of traffic, okay, or before that, I can show you few more things. Like right now, admin is the context who can manage everything, okay? But even you can change the context, like who can be the admin if you want to change, okay? If you want to change, you can change that admin. So let me try, like do one thing. Need to change, okay? Change to system, not in the context, because I want to change my admin context here. uh, uh, Context is C1, or not this command, my bad, it's admin context, that is my C1. So that how I can change. And if you check show context, so you can see now the star one is your admin context, the star one is okay. So now you can change the context. So like there is no management portal right now dedicated on this router, so that I can show you. But we can use a dedicated interface to manage the firewall. So right now, like I'm using here separate and separate routers. So not maybe in the next class I will show you more about that. So just I'm trying to configure some policies or ACL, okay, just to show the configuration related to the separate context, right? So just I'm trying to configure uh, like traffic inspection for one protocol and here traffic inspection for other protocol. And as we know the TCP UDP have by default. So what I'm trying to achieve here, like the context one. So R1 can make communication to R3 using the ICMP. So we want to inspect the ICMP traffic. So I can do directly this command under my context, the fix protocol command. But I want to configure some protocols like access list and the class. So let's do that. So I'm changing into the context C1. Now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to match the traffic. So that is access list, okay. And we are using like ICMP traffic. So permit ICMP any, okay. And I'm going to inspect this traffic. So I have to create here class map, that is my CMap match access list, and the name of the access list is ICMP. So I'm doing just inspect something, nothing else, okay. And the policy map is my PMap, and here I can do the class is CMap, and I can just say inspect it, right? So this is the, wait a minute, inspect ICMP. I need to make sure that the protocol is ICMP and exit it. But before applying this, if you try to ping from R1 to R3, so R1 is belong to network 10, and we can try to ping on network 30, right? 30.3 because of R3. So you can see there is no reachability, right? But if we configure this like as service policy, wait a minute, service policy, PMAP interface inside. So on interface inside we applied the policy, and if you check, show service policy interface inside, and we can see we have applied policy PMAP which have inspection of ICMP traffic. And if R1 is trying to ping again, now we can see the traffic is inspecting here, right? Okay, so similar, I can inspect the traffic of other as well. So if just I want to pass the traffic, or just to show you the inspection, how we can do that. So let me configure something on firewall. So just I can inspect it, or just to show you. So just change into context C2, right? And here we have to move in the global configuration mode, and maybe here I want to inspect, or I want to allow only telnet traffic, not the SSH traffic. But let me first try. If from R2 I will do telnet and SSH on R4, is it possible to do or not? So let me check that. uh, we have to move on R2, enable telnet 40.4. Okay, so the telnet is available. SSH is not, so I need to enable SSH as well, right? So the command is crypto key generate RSA label Cisco. Okay, username password is already configured, and we did the configuration. So let me try from R2, exit, SSH, admin 40.1.1.4. Okay, so now we have here password. So password is here. So that means we are able to inspect both type of traffic. So just I can use some policies or ACL only just to inspect separately. So now I can use here access list. just to permit my telnet traffic, right? Permit TCP any, and the port number is 23, right? And now apply this access list on your interface inside, right? And if you check show access list, here we have and see we have here ACL. So let me try to generate the traffic from R2, and now we are doing the telnet. Username admin and the password is Cisco. So the traffic is matching and going through it. If you check the hit count, so we have here one hit count, right? And if you check the connection table, so we have here connection table have entry as well, right? But at the same time, if I exit this and try to do SSH 20.4, right? So wait a minute.
I think we didn't enable SSH on R2.
I enabled the SSH on R2. If you remember, I just verified here. See, I tried SSH and we were logged in, right? And after that, I applied the
We
poll ACL.
enabled it on R4 only. I think on R4.
Yeah, but R2 is client and R4 is server. So I'm just trying to take SSH connection from R2 to R4. And here I'm using this command SSH username and the IP. So we got the access of R4, right? And then I applied the ACL in which I only allowed the telnet traffic, not the SSH traffic. So if you check from router and do the packet tracer command, input inside interface TCP 20.2 on a random port number, and it's 40.4 and the port number is 23. So if we are using this, see, the firewall is doing the route lookup and the ACL is allowing the traffic, right? So the traffic is allowed and the final is allow. If I change here and just change the port number, see, the access list is dropping the traffic. The access list is dropping the traffic. Okay.
Can we try with the global ACL also? Or C2?
Yeah, you can try the global ACL, but global ACL is also in context too, right?
Yeah, for context.
You can try with the global ACL configuration channel, access list, global ACL, okay, permit TCP. Like if I do any, it will allow my SSH connection, and the port number is like if I'm giving okay, like allow everything, and access list global, right? So now I allowed the global and show access list. So we have now global ACL here, which is going to be check everything. And now if I'm doing SSH this time, it will allow because it will match the global ACL. Come on, just show us. See, the traffic is matching here. We have two hit counts and the password is here Cisco. So now we got the access because we applied the ACL on inside and then we applied the global ACL. If entry is not in inside, it will check into the global ACL. Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, so like this is the basic configuration which we did here. So in next class I will explain you like if we have multiple contacts. So the first of all I will show you some management configuration of it, like how we are going to be manage the firewall. Okay, and then later on I will show you how multiple contacts can communicate with each other if they want to communicate, right? Maybe you have some scenarios where context one want to make communication with other one, right? So that we can also achieve here. So this is like you can say interval and on switch, so the same thing is here. Okay,
Okay.
Can we do
Uh,
some routing configuration
one
for the
routing
contact
configuration.
in the remaining time? Yes.
Sorry, you want to configure a dynamic routing?
Whatever. Maybe static routing. Whatever
Okay.
you prefer.
Okay, you can do the static routing. I'm under the context too, so just give the route, and that is outside. Okay, and we are on C2, so that means like we have loopback of 4, and the exit interface is this one. Okay, R4 show route. We have here route that is under the context 2. We are under context 2. Okay, like if you want to ping right now, we need to give some loopback to R4. Just configure the loopback here. Okay, now try to ping from ASC. Ping, it must ping. Okay, so that how you can give. But if you change into context one, wait a minute, I forgot to give the context. Show route. So here we have these two routes. Okay, so I hope this is clear now. So the detailed configuration we will see tomorrow. The management configuration and the intercommunication in the different context. Okay, so after that we will finish with the context. Tomorrow means on Monday, guys. Okay, so on weekends you can do the practice. Okay, and if you have any doubt you can ask in the chat. Okay, so guys, now do you have any doubt, any one of you?
yeah, I have one doubt.
Okay,
ASA can support suppose 20 context,
yeah.
but we have only limited interface on ASA. So
Okay,
how we can distribute the interfaces among 20 or 100 contexts?
we can use sub interface in that case, but again, it will affect your hardware resources, right? So, like, suppose you have a room, and like, how small you can make this room with multiple small rooms